So how about those Cleveland Browns? Certainly an interesting draft. I actually think the best player they got was the player they got in the second round. So kind of an interesting draft by them. We'll start off with their first round pick, Greg Newsome. He's a player who I like a lot. I guess my only real issue I have with Newsome is a lot of what we saw was just him in zone coverage, which, listen, do you want to spend a first round pick on a zone corner? Well, if you play zone like Cleveland likes to do, then sure, why not, right? Because that can be good. And, he has really good footwork. I like how he moves in quickly. So I felt like a cover 3 zone corner is good. He ran a sub 4.4 40-yard dash. It was 4.38. Although, again, pro day times, got to put an asterisk next to all of it. Probably, something mid 4.4s, which is fine. I think that there's a couple of issues, like he takes too many penalties. And maybe you could argue he could make decisions a little quicker, especially with him being a zone corner. But as a whole, there's a lot to like about Greg Newsome, and I think I do believe he will be a starting corner. I think so. And then in round 2, they got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who it's almost like I'm almost wondering if I'm missing something, just given how far he fell in the draft. But I like him. I think there's a lot to like about him. I know that his size concerns some people he's 6'1", so his height isn't the issue, but only 216. He's a skinny linebacker. Let's just be honest. He is a skinny linebacker. But, at the same time, you look at the history of the NFL, and it states that typically getting a linebacker who is either sort of a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger tends to be a good thing. You actually just don't want the guys who are kind of like medium size. Your average size linebacker tends to not develop as well as a smaller one. So I like the pick a lot. There are some other issues just with I definitely see some plays of him where I'm like, will that work in the NFL? Probably not. But at the same time, there's so many splash plays. He is electric to watch. He's a great blitzer. There's so much to like about him. And I've said, as a linebacker, typically you can find a mediocre linebacker. They're not that hard to find. But when you want a linebacker, really what I want from a linebacker is someone who can make splash plays. Get me a turnover. Get me a sack. Get me, instead of having a run go for 0 yards, have it go for, or excuse me, instead of having a run go for 7, have it go for 0. Make one of those plays. That can really help your team a lot more. I want a linebacker to be a home run hitter, and that's what JOK is. They also got Anthony Schwartz, who I'm a little bit surprised that at how early he went, but at the same time, I think they just felt like, hey, we don't love anyone else here still on the board. Let's get the guy who we think can really help our team and can be a great starter. And I mean, again, it's just speed on speed on speed now. You can have him across from Odell Beckham Jr. And the kind of what makes a guy like Schwartz so valuable is, as a defense, it's kind of like, how do you really cover the Browns now? Because are you going to put a safety over the top to protect yourself from Schwartz? Well, you don't want to do that because now you're leaving Odell and Jarvis Landry both with one-on-one matchups probably. So you don't want to do that, which means that he could get these, Schwartz could get the one-on-ones where if he's playing against a team that doesn't have a super fast corner, or even if he does, he can still get by them. So that's a deadly matchup. He's kind of just matchup nightmare. So I'm a big fan of this pick, even if I thought it should have maybe been around later. It's hard to really hate that too much just because of what he brings to the table and how well he fits in. And then we got a few clear depth pieces, in my opinion, guys who probably won't be starters. Maybe Tony Fields, but we'll get to him in a second. Like James Hudson, Tommy Tagai. Those are two guys that it seems like they're just drafted to be depth guys. Cleveland lost Sheldon Richardson. They lost Kendall Lamb. So kind of getting the replacements for those two. I'm not saying that Tagai will be a replacement for Richardson, just saying that they're getting another warm body in that room, in the defensive tackle room. So that's what they're doing there. Tony Fields, he was sort of hyped up as he made a ton of tackles. I don't know a ton about him, to be honest. I haven't watched a ton of tape, but again, getting a linebacker, there's a chance that he could get some playing time, although I don't think they need him to get a bunch of playing time, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does. They also got Richard LeCounte, who is someone who it seems like, again, their secondary got ravaged by injuries, specifically to safety. So just getting another safety in there, trying to improve that depth, that makes sense because last year it was a huge issue for them once those safeties went down. And then in round 6, you have Demetric Felton, who, he's this wide receiver who can also be a running back. So there's just some there's some value there just in a versatile player with one of these late round picks. And that's honestly a great way to get drafted. If you are going to be one of these late round picks, is just play multiple positions. So that way teams will say, hey, I can get you, and then you can cover a little bit more ground, so we can improve our depth on other places. And if our running back room gets ravaged by injuries, then you go there. If our wide receiving room gets ravaged by injuries, you can go there. I'm sure he'll play special teams as well. So definitely, I think this is another good pick. Just get a versatile weapon sort of late in the draft. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, I think we all kind of are in agreement here. Very good draft from Cleveland, and Cleveland continues to really be remarkable these past couple of years and how they've done their rebuild. I think, it wasn't that long ago that this team was 0-16. Baker Mayfield, when he first got drafted, he went to an 0-16 team. They did a great job of acquiring talent, didn't do a great job at getting the head coaching right with keeping Hugh Jackson for too long and Freddie Kitchens, but they finally got the head coach, and they're doing a good job. I mean, they really are. I like a lot of what they did, and I think that they've vastly improved their defense, and I think we'll see that. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.